Is Godot good enough for my game? Most everyone looking to pick up game dev has to pick an engine or framework to make their games in, and it's valid to wonder if the engine will be up to the task. Beginner game devs get really caught up in making sure they do everything right from the starting line and want to use all the best tools, but using the best tool is complicated, subjective, and nuanced based on project needs. Let me tell you what you need to hear. Godot is good enough. I cannot think of a single 2D game that Godot would not be suitable for. There are a plethora of 2D games that have been released with notable success, like Cassette Beasts, Brotato, Luck Be a Landlord, and hopefully a strong 3D release with PVKK. While I don't think it's necessary for your game engine of choice to have any major successes to be considered viable, it instills some confidence that if someone else was able to do it with these tools, then I can too. A great selling point of Godot is that it's both flexible and powerful. Godot utilizes GDScript, an easy-to-use scripting language, as well as C#, a compiled language, for any heavier duty tasks. Godot also has a feature called GD extension, where you can effectively program games in Godot in any programming language of your choosing, so long as someone in the community is updating the bindings. Being able to utilize scripting languages helps with rapid prototyping, and you can adapt those to a compiled language if it ends up being a performance issue. I personally have yet to encounter any performance issue with GDScript that wasn't because of my own stupidity. One amazing advantage that Godot holds over other engines is that everything about it is fully customizable because you effectively own it, and you don't owe anyone money if you end up selling your games, because you effectively own it. Godot is maintained under the MIT license, which means you can butcher the engine all you want and sell your games with essentially no restrictions. I think this is a concern people get a little ahead of themselves on, as you actually need a game worth selling before you should begin to worry about royalties, fees, etc. Unreal actually has very favorable terms for indie developers, but you can't beat free. If pricing is a concern to you before you even have a game to sell, then Godot is the obvious choice. At this exact moment, I will give the Godot haters one valid argument. It does struggle with hyper-realistic 3D games because it's missing some of the more robust features that other engines like Unreal have. It's worth noting, however, that you will probably never finish a game as a solo dev if you're shooting for hyper-realism in any engine, not just Godot. Realistic 3D graphics are hard enough to make, but it's a whole other beast to implement it and not tank performance. Godot's 3D functionality will be more than sufficient for anything within a reasonable scope for a solo dev to achieve. I thought this a prudent topic to discuss with the recent news that Battlefield 6 is actually going to be using the Godot engine for their community map editor. If this isn't the signal that you need to say that Godot is enough, then you've got your head buried in the sand and don't want to hear it. EA is one of the largest AAA companies, and they have implemented a modified version of Godot to allow map makers to create scripts and UI elements in the Godot editor and have the finished maps run on their own Frostbite engine. For clarity, this does not mean that the game is running on Godot, but they've implemented it as their map editor. Still, it is amazing news that the engine is receiving this attention. More people interacting with the engine means more people contributing bug reports and changes to the engine, making it a better tool for everyone. I think the best way for you to tell if an engine is right for you is to actually use it. I personally selected Godot because at the beginning of my journey, I only knew how to program in Python and found that for me, using a framework like Pygame was frustrating and cumbersome. After trying to learn Unity, I found out that Godot, a still largely unknown engine, used a language almost identical to Python, and I've been stuck on it ever since. Try not to worry about starting with the right tools and just start anything. I think people try to use the "I don't know where to start" mentality as a way to keep them from actually trying because they're afraid to fail. Failure is essential in game dev and any creative hobby because you, just like everyone else, don't know anything at the start of your journey. Godot was the right answer for me and is as good as any engine for beginners. You might find that in the future you need a different tool to complete your game ideas, and that's totally fine. A lot of people scare themselves out of making games because they don't want to waste their time learning one tool only to learn that all of their effort was wasted. Most engines are similar enough at this point that picking one and learning it won't be a waste of time. What matters most is getting experience and getting on your game dev journey. Programming knowledge and skill is easily transferable to other languages, not to mention all the other game dev skills that are completely irrelevant to what game engine you choose, like game design, music, story writing, world building, digital art, etc. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your time, and I hope that you're feeling pumped to start making games. If you're not sure where to start, be sure to subscribe to my channel, as I'll be releasing a beginner Godot tutorial in the near future. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and start making games. Don't let doubt in your tools or yourself hold you back from following your passion. That's all for now, folks. Take it easy.